Hello and welcome! Today we are in one of my favorite ships in the game, the Tier 9 US supercruiser, the Alaska. But first I have an announcement. Strefs is holding a W25 jousting tournament this weekend. It'll happen on the 31st of October at 5 PM CEST. There will be a link in the description to the forum post that will give you additional details. It'll be a fairly standard W25 joust. If you've never taken part or don't know what it is, you can look, I have videos of that, but I'll probably post something related to that in the next few days. That will give you an understanding of what W25 jousting is, but it's really fun. I love it. I really do like it. And I expect to see all of you there. Particularly you, Jim. Particularly you. Anyways, to the game. So we are on the map Two Brothers, and we spawned on the northern side of the map. And since I spawned in the middle, I decided to go to the western flank because it seemed that we had fewer ships over there. As a ship with a fairly powerful radar and a very good hydro, I went near the cap zone because the Alaska on top of everything else is also tanky and has very powerful AP. This should ward off many of the enemies from trying to mess with my Benson over here. There were torpedoes, but those were easily avoided. Another thing that really helps this flank here is that island over there, that the Benson you can see is hiding behind, because if necessary the Benson can go forward and avoid almost any torpedo that could potentially be fired at her. And on top of that, there's me next to her, so no ship is actually going to try to YOLO this Benson, or if they are, they will probably pay for it with their entire ship, and they likely won't even get the Benson in return. So effectively I'm just going to sit here until we take the cap, and then we'll see from there. But most likely I will simply just keep shelling away to get more and more damage, because hey, we've already done 10k damage, well 11k, and we haven't really even seen the enemy too much over here, right here. Is the enemy actually blocking? Yeah, the enemy is blocking the cap right now. Sadly, my radar has been used, so I can't make the enemy leave. But we have 1 minute until the next radar, and then we can definitely make the destroy. Oh, never mind, it's a Cossack that actually pushed up, and the Hydra actually reaches her. Cossack, what are you doing? I had AP loaded, but that still did 7,000 damage. And the secondaries actually set her on fire, but now I'm switching to HE. There are torpedoes coming, but I should be easily able to avoid these. One of those got eaten by the island, and the rest will simply miss because I have the propulsion upgrade. I could have fired on the Cossack again, but I decided to take a shot on the Shiratsuyu because she was more in open water, and goodbye Shiratsuyu. That salvo wasn't quite necessary because somebody else had hit her for a lot of damage already. Now the Benson did move out of the cap to be able to avoid those torpedoes, but that's okay, we actually got an enemy destroyer in return for this, especially since the Benson can just go and enter the cap again. My radar is available, and I think I should probably use it at some point here. But right now I'm more focused on the Riga coming around the island, so I loaded AP. Even if I radar right here, I'm not sure if it's entirely worth it. Because that DD probably is not gonna get struck, and she'll just stay in the cap. And then the radar disappears, and we didn't actually get the cap. Oh, 22k on the Riga. So the point is, we give the cap to the Cossack, right? And then we just take it back again. Because when the Cossack already takes the cap, she's more likely to simply leave instead of stubbornly trying to stay in it. Oh, and this Riga looks very dead. That's very good though, because then they won't have any more radars over here. Or hydros, for that matter. They have an Azuma, but that Azuma is a good 13 kilometers away, and hydro does not reach that far. In fact, I could probably just reverse into this cap right now. The other thing is that I'm not really worried about the cap situation right now, as we are clearly taking the decap. We are very heavily outnumbering the enemy on that flank. The enemy only has, what, 3 ships over there right now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and technically a Kansas that went through the middle of the map and is now effectively flanking the enemy. I actually think the Cossack is probably gonna go over there to deal with the Kansaw. As a result, we should be able to just take this A-cap back again, and it should not be much of an issue. Oh, Benson is actually giving me a smoke screen. Thank you. Okay, our King George was taken out, but I think it's okay. I don't think it matters too much. We've lost 2 ships, they have lost 3. We are clearly in a cap advantage. I mean, we've locked their A cap, we've locked their B cap, well, C cap, sorry. We've already taken the D cap, B cap is ours. And so the enemy isn't actually gaining any points other than sinking ships. And they don't seem to be doing too well at that for now. I'm gonna just keep reversing until I can turn around, and then I think we will actually push. Because it's very likely that the enemies on this side of the map started falling back more towards the middle to deal with the Kansas and the rest of the ships over there. Oh, hello Cossack. How are you doing? It's too bad nobody can actually deal damage to her, but it's still good to know. Especially for our Benson. Oh, wait, why is Benson actually engaging? I don't think anybody else can shoot the Cossack here. Yeah, nobody on our team can actually shoot that Cossack. Benson? Benson, you don't have a smokescreen. I hope you know what you're doing. Ooh, a broadside Azuma. Hello, Azuma. I guess maybe pushing isn't really the right option here. We should cautiously do it, though. If the enemy is leaving, that is. But right now, it's more important, I think, to save some ships over here. There is a Gneisenau pushing around, so we should go and deal with her. And our Benson did get punished here for this trade with the Cossack, but that's okay. That just means that the Benson has to be more careful in the future, but we don't need to push into them, so I don't think that should be too difficult. Ooh, a Sovietsky Soyuz. Broadside on, and she's even turning to make it a better broadside. Please eat Citadel. Oh, never mind, I forgot. Soyuz has like 400mm armor plates. She will actually have to be close range for me to be able to Citadel her. Where is that Gneisenau? Seriously, where is she? She hasn't been spotted for a while now. Eventually she'll have to clear that island, right? But I mean, again, we hold 3 of the 4 cap zones, so this kind of situation is completely okay for us. This smokescreen has been truly useful. Thank you very much, Benson. I'm gonna use Hydro, because I'm going to push forward. And I don't wish to be greeted by sudden Cossack torpedoes that will end my game. Ships-wise, we are still ahead. Okay, I guess let's not go forward yet. If I'm going to be fighting this Soyuz, not quite the right time, I think. At least as long as she actually shoots back at me. Come on, where is that Gneisenau now? Seriously? Ooh, 10k damage. Nice. Right now it's just all about trying to prevent the enemy from taking any cap zones back. Sure, they held on to the C cap, but they are in not a good position to be able to take this cap or the D cap. Oh, the Gneisenau has finally pushed around the island, and she has 28,000 HP. Oh wow, 2 of my turrets are actually broken. In that case, I'm just going to continue reversing here as I engage this Gneisenau, because going forward here would mean making my angle between the Soyuz and the Gneisenau worse for me, as in, right now I can somewhat angle against both of them. Not very well, but a decent amount. However, if I go forward, then one of them will be able to get my broadside, and that will be very, very damaging to me. As a result, I'm going to just continue reversing away instead, so that the angle doesn't get worse and instead gets actually better. Ooh, the Gneisenau is actually turning in. That's actually good for me as well, because it means the angle is not gonna get worse for me. If she had kept sailing on the outside, then it's likely that my angle would have eventually gotten worse, because obviously a ship sailing forward at full speed will be able to outrun a ship that's reversing. Okay, since the Gneisenau is angled, I will have to use HE, but that's okay. So, the way I wish to be angled is, I want to be at least around 30 degrees angled. Well, in the Alaska's case, you can still point all your guns at the enemy. This means that almost all the shells that the Gneisenau fires that cannot overmatch my ship will ricochet off of the armor plates. But on top of that, I want to make sure that my bow isn't pointed directly towards the Gneisenau, because I don't want her to shoot the bow. because she can overmatch the bow. I'm pretty... No, never mind. I forgot. She can't actually overmatch my bow, because my bow is 27 millimeters. If I remember correctly. That means that Gneisenau's 380s cannot do that. Ooh. Yeah, actually, I guess I could just point my bow directly towards her, but I guess at this point it doesn't matter. She's already low HP enough that one salvo should be able to finish her. Goodbye, Gneisenau.
Enemy battleship destroyed.
Okay, so we have defended the ACAP, and the Soyuz, Bismarck, Azuma, etc. have already left as well. So now it is actually time to push forward. The match is actually more even than I would have thought in terms of ships. We have 7 ships, 6 ships, correction, they have 6 as well. They have 2 destroyers though, and our destroyers at very low HP. Look at that! Scharnhorst low HP, Pommern just died. Oh wow, we just lost 2 ships just like that. And now suddenly the enemy actually has a 2-ship advantage. They definitely have a significant HP advantage. But because they are not in a good position to take the caps back, even though there's less than a 200 points difference between the 2 teams, we are actually significantly ahead in terms of points. Because eventually they're gonna lose a few more ships, and because they are not in a position to contest any of our cap zones. Even if there were no ships around, it would take them quite a while to actually sail into one. This means that we should be able to have a commanding lead and simply just fight defensively. Our Benson being attacked here is a problem though. It's better if we don't lose any ships at all, and Benson being spotted is something that should not be happening. I do have hydro and radar. I simply need to time it correctly to be able to pick off the enemy Benson. Right now, because her last known position is outside of the radar range, I don't want to use it yet. I will turn away though, just in case. Yep, and this is why I didn't want to use it earlier. Sadly, it still meant that she wasn't in range yet. On the other hand though, they don't know that I used radar right now. The Benson has no way of knowing that my radar has been used, which also means that the Benson is likely not going to know that she can approach me after this radar is out. Therefore, I think it's likely that the Benson will simply sail elsewhere, to the D cap or maybe even the B cap. Because those are places... Oh, never mind! She came in at the very end and probably saw that the radar was used. This is actually bad news then. Because, well, now she knows. And now she can actually come and fight me. I do have hydro, so I should be fairly safe against the torpedoes. But it is still a risky thing that I did there. You know, now she has an idea that she can come and try to harass me. But then again, I also know that she's there, which means that avoiding torpedoes, especially slow torpedoes like a Benson's, should be fairly easy.
Problem solved, sir.
Okay, our Soyuz seems to... or their Soyuz will probably go down soon. Our Benson is doing something which I think is a bad idea. That is trying to take the Sea-Cap, and she paid with her ship for that, because obviously they have 2 destroyers and they will eventually spot her. And she only had the HP to take 1 salvo effectively and then simply went down. But it's okay, it might be a 3 versus 5, but as you can see, it's 836 points to 400, sorry. 878 points to 444. 3 against 4, as one of their destroyers was taken out, so the Benson actually did make it worth our while. She managed to torpedo their Benson, and I think that was completely worth it. It was probably by accident, but hey, everything counts, right? My fight is with a Bismarck, and this should be a fairly easy fight for me. She is lower HP, she can't overmatch my bow or stern, my firepower is completely adequate to deal with her. Yeah, she is definitely in a losing battle here. I'm mostly afraid that if I actually close the distance with the Bismarck, I might have to contend with a Musashi, and that's a ship that I can deal with slightly less than the Bismarck. Now the Musashi is fairly far away, and you might say, and this is an advantage in a sense. The Musashi can obviously still fire on me, right? Because Musashi has 26 plus kilometer range. However, obviously it's going to disperse a lot, and it'll be difficult to get those salvos. But on the bright side for the Musashi, that is, she might be far away enough that quite a few of the shells that land on the deck of my ship won't ricochet anymore. They will actually just deal penetration damage. But regardless, I'm gonna deal with this Bismarck, and it's just incredibly unlikely Musashi can land proper salvos on me. Hey, we got a high caliber there, and I think that's goodbye Bismarck. Yep. 972 points, 463 there on theirs. They have to sink all of us to be able to win this game. It does seem that it's likely our Alsace will go down, but as long as they don't take this A-cap right here or sink me. Oh! The Alsace went down! Now I'm actually regretting sinking that Bismarck so quickly, because the enemy has 3 ships. If I hadn't sank that Bismarck, I could have had a solo warrior here. But now, no, I'm just alone. You know what? Let's just do requesting support. Team, please, help me. Back me up. Look, see guys, I have to fight 1 versus 3. All we have to do is defend the space. Please, team, please. Or give me a smokescreen. But you can't do that, can you? Because you're all dead. You threw all your ships away to get more damage, meanwhile, I had to sit back. And now I can't get damage for it, which is sad. I would have liked to trade some of my HP for more damage too. But anyway, this is definitely a victory. There's just... I don't think it's even possible for them to spot me, let alone sink me in time. I also have a heal left, I have radar, I have hydro, the game ends in less than 20 seconds, so we might as well use everything. In fact, even my heal can't last until the end of the match. Oh, they actually blocked the B-cap. That's cool and all, but I still have the A-cap, and if you get anywhere close to it, you will just go down. Because on top of everything else, the Alaska is still a very powerful fighting ship, as 3 enemies have already seen so far in this match. But hey, it was a great battle. I enjoyed it. Confederate, high caliber, sank 3 ships, 189k damage. 2 Citadel hits, defended the cap zone. I even got a secondary hit with an Alaska! Yes! That's all that really matters, isn't it? The secondary hit. That is the mark of excellence right there. Anyways, let's take a look at the team score. Well, of course I'm number 1. By a significant margin. Look at that Cossack on the enemy team. Wow, 1573. I'm gonna compliment that Benson for those smoke screens and the Alsace, but definitely this Cossack. That Cossack played really well. This was a nice battle for me though, because I was tier 9 in a tier 7 to 9 match. And Alaska in these kinds of matches truly feels like a battleship. So, let's take a look at the commander skills and upgrades. Priority target, expert marksman, superintendent, concealment expert, adrenaline rush, fire prevention, and basics of survivability. It's a standard battleship build, because I want propulsion mod. Then I use the reload upgrade, concealment upgrade, then the propulsion mod of course, then the dispersion upgrade, then the radar upgrade, and then main arms modification. It's a standard build on the Alaska, and I think it works really well. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.